Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I take this opportunity today to speak on the use of e-bikes and e-scooters in the Drummoyne electorate. Speaker, there is no doubt that electric bikes and scooters are becoming increasingly common in my community and right across metropolitan Sydney and New South Wales. School students are riding to class, delivery drivers and gig economy workers rely on e-bikes, and commuters are using e-bikes as a greener and cost-effective way to get to work. It's clear that these transport methods will be part of the future. However, we must ensure that this is done with the proper infrastructure and support in place. E-bikes and e-scooters have their place, but e-bikes do not come without their problems. In the past year or so, particularly in the past year or so, I've had more emails, more constituents that want to talk to me about e-bikes, and more feedback from local residents across the community telling me about some of the teething issues and problems they're experiencing. I recently reached out to my community seeking feedback, wanting to listen to their experiences around e-bikes and e-scooters to better understand my community's sentiment around safety, regulation and accessibility. I'd like to sincerely thank every resident who shared their views on this important matter. It is always encouraging to see my community actively engaged in matters that affect them, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to represent them in this chamber. I want to take this opportunity to talk about some of the feedback I've received. My community survey received over hundreds of responses and captured a range of viewpoints and demographics, which I think is important because we want to represent the entire community. We've not only asked people what the problem was, we asked them about how they think we could fix the issue. There was a variety of recommendations, and overall, people are supportive of active transport solutions. They understand the environmental, convenience and economic advantages of e-bikes and scooters, and they are open to a shift towards these new technologies, provided it is safe. While there is enthusiasm, there was also a clear concern raised in the survey. One point stood out above all else. We need consistency in regulations that are actively communicated and enforced. Many residents were confused about the laws around e-bikes and e-scooters, and that's created some uncertainty for both riders and pedestrians. And several members of my community have called for clearer communication and education surrounding e-transport. One resident of Rhodes suggested, "I believe regulation is already in place and I'd prefer education campaigns a la slip, slop, slap to manage public behaviour. We know that education campaigns are effective, and this is a common sense solution that can be implemented at all levels of government to improve pedestrian safety." Rider behaviour was another concern that was voiced frequently in the survey, and I want to take this opportunity to share some of the feedback from local residents. Len from Five Dock said, "My wife and I used to be cyclists on standard bikes. We stopped cycling about 5 years ago as we found it was becoming too dangerous. E-scooters are even more dangerous to pedestrians, and we've both had instances where we have almost been hit by them. Only lucky that we stepped in the right direction as they zoomed past." Chris from Drummoyne said, "E-bikes can be dangerous and most users do not respect the road rules or the pedestrians around them. Most do the right thing, but some users do not respect the road rules or the pedestrians around them. They switch from the road to the footpath depending on the traffic lights, and I'm particularly concerned about young people who may not have the maturity to navigate safely at speed, some of them without helmets." It's a similar sentiment to that which was shared with me by an ED nurse named Elizabeth, who came up and saw me on the street, and she said that she'd seen many young people come through the ED with very, very serious injuries that had been involved in e-bike accidents, particularly e-bike accidents at speed, and she did say that there was a concerning trend of young people not wearing helmets. Another respondent noted that often the regulated speed of an e-bike is changed, and it can be changed and manipulated with technology, and she said, quote, that the speed that e-bikes are capable of can be in excess of 40 kilometres an hour. They present a significant risk to pedestrians, particularly the elderly, on footpaths, and they threaten the safety of pedestrians and vehicles. As policymakers, it's our role to ensure that these issues are addressed, and for that reason, I'm thankful for the opportunity to engage with my constituents and to share their views in the chamber today. As the government reviews the recommendations of the Transport Portfolio Committee's report, which I understand is due next week, I look forward to reading that report, and I hope common sense will prevail. Thank you.